And I've seen other lives where I was a general in Mongolia, an army general. And I was very powerful and ruthless. And I remember I was killed in battle, And then when I died, I was received by my spirit guide who came as an eagle, a green eagle. So I sat on the eagle's back and the eagle took me all around the ruins of war.
Like, what is it that pivotal moment in my life when I should decide, okay, I also want to get a PLR session done? Because, so many people just want to know more about this concept just for the fun of it.
When you have an intention, and then the past life session is very productive. But if you don't have an intention, it's just like going on a tour, mindless tour.
Do you feel that there was some story or some person who told you that their life was not on Earth but on some other planet?
I had this gentleman who came to me and he was suffering from anxiety. And in the past life, this gentleman now was on a different planet. It was a crystal planet. He says, I'm walking barefoot on crystals which change color. And he's saying, they are my life force, these crystals. And he says, I don't have a human body, it's transparent.
Hello, this is your host Rangoli Sharma and welcome back to your favorite spiritual podcast, Speaking Tree. Another day and I've brought to you another exclusive episode in our English series, Mystic Mind. Do you believe in past lives? Do you think that your parents, your partners, are someone who you lived a past life with? Do you think that these souls are the souls you have some karma with, some unfinished business? Do you feel fascinated towards a particular place? Do you feel that you're meant to be a particular someone in this life? If yes, past life regression is the answer for you. So in today's podcast, we delve into past lives and past life regression. Is it safe to do? What really happens in a past life regression? When should you get one? And how does it give clarity to your life? How it can make your life better? And the guest who has joined me today in the studio is a PLR therapist, NLP practitioner, and spiritual coach. I'd like to welcome Tertia Sandhu. Ma'am, welcome to Speaking Tree.
Thank you, Rangoli. It's a pleasure being here.
Ma'am, our pleasure. And past life is one such concept that I'm personally very fascinated towards, because I do believe somewhere that whatever we have in this life cannot be of just this life. Our parents, our partners. I do believe that some souls I do know from a different life. I do feel fascinated towards different places, and I do believe that I've, visited them already. Because I highly believe that, our mind forgets, but our soul remembers. And in this episode, we will delve into this only. So, now that my audience is pretty aware about past life regression, that, it's a technique where you go into a past life, in a particular past life, and you look at some incidents. So, one very simple and one very valid question here would be, like, what if when we go into a past life regression, what if it's just a part of my imagination? What is the surety that it's actually a life that I lived?
A very good question, Rangoli. So this is a question that most of my clients ask me after the session, not before the session, but after. They say, what if it's just something that I imagined? And I tell them, if you had imagined it, would you have cried? And would you have felt the pain that you were going through? Because when we remember, we don't go through the emotions. It's just a recall of incidents that happened to us. But when you actually relive the moments, then you're experiencing them all over again.
Yeah, you're feeling something.
Yes. So like if you were imagining, you would just, take it very lightly, and maybe you may forget some certain points, but actually if you're reliving it, You will remember what you said maybe 10 minutes ago. You will be reconnecting the dots. You will not just say something and then when I take you back to what you had said before, you would not remember any of it. But then you're going back and forth. You're seeing things in flashes, but then you're able to connect all of them and get the greater picture. So this is not just imagination. It's actually something that happened to you in a past life.
Okay, so I mean, that's a surety that it's not just a fragment of your imagination, because you feel when you go into a past life session.
Yes, you feel it and then you remember what you said before.
And what you felt before.
Right.
Ma'am, I do believe that, call it higher powers, call it God. When God gives us a new life, when He sends us into a new life as a new person, with a new body, with new conditions, He sends us with a clean slate. I mean, I took birth as Rangoli. I don't know who I was in a previous life. You don't know who you were in a previous life. But techniques like past life regression and trying to see who I was in the past life, don't you think it's somewhere a play with the divine energies who actually want us to forget everything and start afresh? Don't you think we're trying to play with the divine energies or cosmic forces who want us to forget everything, but we want to know what happened in my past life?
So Rangoli, God sent us here with a clean slate. Why? Because you've lived so many lifetimes before, not just one lifetime, right? And if you had to remember all of the lifetimes, in this lifetime, you would become a mess, right? You won't be able to function properly. So, but past life is something different. Like past life regression is something that will help you to recall certain memories from certain lifetimes that are going to help you move forward in your present situation. Like, for example, those people who come for a session, they have some concerns, issues in their lives. Maybe it could be related to finances or fears or relationships, something of that sort. And when they go into a past life, they go to that particular lifetime, which is related to their present concern. And that's where they get the clarity and they're able to move forward in this life. They don't go to all the past lives that they lived before. They just go to certain lives, maybe one life or 2-3 lives which are connected to the issues that they are going through at this moment.
So when should one go for a PLR session? That would be my question. What is it, that pivotal moment in my life when I should decide, okay, I also want to get a PLR session done? Because, so many people just want to know more about this concept just for the fun of it.
Yes. So some people come out of curiosity. They want to see a past life, but that's very rare. Most of them have issues, and everybody in this world has some problem or the other in some time of their life. So what they usually come for is they want answers. What is my purpose in this life? And why am I in this situation? Or why do I have this fear? And how can I overcome some of the issues that I'm going through? So when you have an intention, and then the past life session is very productive. But if you don't have an intention, it's just like going on a tour, mindless tour.
Have you seen some of your past lives?
I did.
And who were
you? Very
you?
vividly.
And who were you? I think it's for my audience. I'm sure they would love to know.
So, and that's how my journey started with this past life. I had gone to Bhutan maybe in 2014. And then I went to this monastery, which is situated right on the top of a cliff called Tiger's Nest. It's very famous. It was, I think, made in the 8th century by some saint. And a lot of saints used to go there and meditate in the caves. This monastery is built around some caves. So when I went there, I just went like a normal tourist. But when I entered that shrine where there was a cave there, so I don't know what came over me. There was some very deep emotion that, just came out, and I started crying. And I was oblivious to everybody else because, when I was crying, I was really howling.
Oh.
And then my sister who was with me, she was shocked. She said, "What's happened?" And I said, "I think I feel that I've been here before, and then I've come here after many centuries." So, and then I forgot all about it,
And it was in which year?
2014.
2014.
Yes.
Okay.
And later on after that, I met Dr. Trupti Jain. And I went for one of her workshops. And there, during a group session, I had this past life experience where I was the Rinpoche of that exact monastery, Tiger's Nest.
Oh.
Yes, I was the Rinpoche there. I was wearing a very tall hat, maroon robes. And there was a festival going on, and all my disciples were dancing.
And this was back in which century or year?
I don't really know, but it was long, long ago, maybe 10th or 11th century or something like that. And then over there, in that lifetime, I had great spiritual powers. So, and there was a dragon over there, a sorceress, whom I had captured, and I had imprisoned. So one of my disciples, he freed the sorceress. And this really upset me. And in that lifetime, when I was dying, the last thought that came to my mind was, why did he betray me? And then in this lifetime also, the same drama happened with the same set of people, but in different settings. And then I learned to forgive. In that lifetime, I didn't forgive.
Yeah.
So this lifetime, I have forgiven. So I feel that my lesson for this life is forgiveness. And that was my home at one point of time. Okay. So that's why I had this, huge emotion when I visited that place. So that was one life. And I've seen other lives where I was a general in Mongolia, an army general. And I was very powerful and ruthless. And I remember I was killed in battle, And then when I died, I was received by my spirit guide who came as an eagle, a green eagle. So I sat on the eagle's back, and the eagle took me all around the ruins of war, the aftermath of war, and showed me. And then I looked down. I realized that I had caused so much pain and devastation to a lot of people. So that was my regret. And then I was taken to a huge hall where the masters received me. And there were about 13 masters. They were wearing these grey hoods, that long robe, and they were very tall. So sometimes I would see 13, and sometimes they would merge and become just one. And then they showed me my life review on a flat screen TV. It looked like a flat screen TV on the ground, and I could see everything, whatever I had done. So that was a beautiful experience which I had.
Wow, like throughout your life, what you did,
yes,
you could
whatever
see
I
that.
had done, I saw it on that screen. And so there was no judge, no one to judge. I was the judge. Like, if I had done something bad, I was extremely regretful, remorseful. But if I had done something good, it made me happy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the soul decides its journey afterwards,
Yes,
right?
the
As you
soul
said,
decides, right.
there's a soul review and then the soul chooses. We'll go on to that part later, like what really happens in the afterlife and the reincarnation and the journey of
Okay.
souls. But before that, ma'am, one question about past life regression that so many viewers do have. That what if they go into a past life session and then it can be a bit disturbing for them? What if they don't come back normal? So I want you to break some myths around it. I think this is one myth that people have, that they might not come back normal.
Okay.
So on the basis of that, I do want to ask, like, what really happens when a past life healer takes you back to a past life? What really happens?
Okay, that fear is always there.
Okay.
People ask me, what if I don't come back? I said, where will you go? Because I'm there. I'm there to guide you. You know, I'm not going to see anything, but I'm there as a guide, and I will know how to take you in. I will know how to take you out. You know, and it's not like you're going to lose all your senses like you see in these shows. You know, stage hypnotherapy, and like they can hypnotize the whole audience. Everybody behaving very abnormally. This is only through relaxation. And it's like when you're reading a good book, you're so engrossed in that book that even if people around you are making a lot of noise, you're not distracted. You can hear the sounds around you, but you're still there in the book. You know, still part of what's going on in the book. It's like also watching a good commercial on TV. And you're so engrossed that even if people are talking, you know that something is going on, but your focus is there. And if something were to happen, you would snap out of it and come back, you know. And so, same thing with hypnosis. If you don't like it, you will open your eyes, you will come back to your normal senses. You're not going to be stuck there. Yeah.
So basically, it's a hypnosis that the guide or the therapist takes you through.
Right.
Okay. So ma'am, on the basis of your years of research and the regressions that you've done so far, one common question that I would have for all of us, what is that general theme that you saw in all your clients? Like something that is common to all of us. What's the general theme that you saw in the lives of all the souls?
So everybody lives a different life. You know, in some lives you are not doing very well. You have a lot of problems, but in some lives it's easy, you know. And I don't think it's like there's something like you can say is general to everyone.
Okay.
Everyone's past life is different. All the experiences are different.
Okay.
But there's one, of course. Recently, I've come across many women who come to me with relationship issues. Okay? Like normally they are in their 40s or maybe late 40s or in their late 30s. And they have these issues that they're not finding the right partner. They want to get married, but they're not finding somebody who's right for them. Why are we attracting narcissistic men?
Yeah. That's one question.
That's something general, I would say. Or why are they emotionally unavailable? So why kind of find the right person for me?
Also, ma'am, at the same time, like why certain souls choose narcissistic parents as well, like father. So what does your PLR sessions tell you about such connections?
Usually it's to teach them something that's for their own good, you know, for their soul evolvement. So if you have a narcissistic father, you know, what your father is trying to teach you maybe to be more compassionate, to be more patient. Maybe to make you don't realize that you lack those qualities. You may get angry with your father. Why is he like this? But you don't realize you're no different.
Oh, is that you are also a narcissist?
You're not a narcissist. Maybe you are not to that degree. But you don't have the patience. You're very judgmental. So maybe if you could be more compassionate, less judgmental. And then that's what he's trying to teach you.
Okay.
It's not that, he's come here and he's trying to ruin your life out of his maybe past experiences as a child or from the past life, a contract that he's had with you. He's come here with a purpose.
Ma'am, on an average, what do you think? How many human lives do we take? Is there a particular number to it? Like this is the particular number where a soul learns its journey, where a soul evolves?
As they say, we live through 84 lakh lives as maybe stone or mineral form or animal form before we get this human form. So this human life is very precious. It is the only vehicle through which you can be liberated. You can attain Nirvana, which is the end goal of every human being or every soul. So, but once you have this human life, it is up to you how many births you need to take before you reach that state of enlightenment. And the Buddha himself had 550 lives before he attained Nirvana. And 10 of those lives before he got enlightened were the lives he lived as saintly beings. And so we as humans, as normal human beings, it's not really, you can't say that I'm going to live this many lives. It depends.
Yeah, it depends. It can be endless also. Like there's not a particular number to it.
No.
Have you ever done a PLR session on a very famous personality? And by that I mean, what did you see in the lives of people, in the past lives of people who are highly celebrated now or like who are highly successful?
So I've done a good many sessions where these ordinary people were famous personalities in a past life. It's the story of a man who came to me. His organs were failing. And he says, there's so much pain in my body. I don't even remember when was the last time I felt painless. He was so distressed that he often thought of like just doing away with everything. And then he came for the session and he had somebody to help him come and put him on the couch. And, the past life scene that he was speaking about opened so beautifully. It was the most beautiful scene of all the past lives I've ever experienced. And he says, I see hennaed feet, beautiful feet in a metal bowl of water and in an open pavilion, and the breeze is blowing in, And I'm wearing green silk robes, which is very heavily embroidered with gold thread.
Okay.
So the first thought was, is he a queen or something? He said, but I'm neither man nor woman. I'm a eunuch.
Oh.
Yeah. And he says, my name is Kasumba. And I'm the eunuch here, and I look after the king's harem. And all the women are here. So when he says, I'm the favorite of the chief queen. She's very beautiful, and her complexion is a bit fairer than the normal population. It was somewhere in South India, he says. Okay? Because she belongs to the kingdom of neighboring kingdom. She's a princess of a neighboring kingdom. Okay? And so he says, I am the eyes and ears of the king. And the king is Krishna Devaraya, who's the king of Vijayanagar kingdom, which was, one of the most famous kingdoms in South India at that time. And then he described all the, palaces and the temples and the Darbar Hall and the market scenes. And then he says there was this group of Portuguese men that came there. And he fell in love with one of the men who was a writer. And his name was Domingo Pez. He says, I fell in love with him. And the queen was very jealous. She says, come back to the palace. He says, no, I cannot come. And so she tried to poison this person. And then he fell very ill. And so this Kasumba, he was like afraid that the queen might kill his friend. So he said, I think you better leave this place. And then the friend said, okay, I'm leaving, but why don't you come with me? He says, no, I'll stay with the king and queen because they need my help. And so that Domingo left. Then he went back to the palace. And he says, I would go around and, to the market. Then I would hear all the rumors and the conspiracies in the harem, and I would report them to the king. And the people would get either banished or killed. He says, but I didn't do anything. I just did my duty. I reported whatever was happening. And anyway, he says that there was a war. The Turks came from the north and they were like, it was like burning and looting everywhere they went. And as the palace was on fire and all the queens, they had consumed poison. Some of them had fled. He says, the chief queen and me, we just took some poison and we lay down on her bed, waiting to die. But the king was already dead by then. He said, we were waiting to die. And he says, she died peacefully, but my throat and my stomach were burning, and they died. Then after death, he went to the afterlife and met the masters. And the master told him that you are suffering in this life because you committed so many sins. You reported others and got them killed and banished, and for that you are suffering. And you will have to take many, many births so that until you accept that you were at fault, because you kept saying that it was not my fault, I just did my duty, but you were at fault. And until you are ready to accept that, you will have to take that many births. And the poison that he had is what is causing all the pain in his body, why his organs are, just breaking down. So later on, after the session, the first thing he said was, I don't think any of it is true. So he was not ready to accept the responsibility.
Yeah.
So that was it. And I forgot to say, just before the session, he had told me that he has a friend who he is very attracted to, a male friend who he is very attracted to, and that male friend was this Portuguese.
Domingo.
Yes, Domingo.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And the master told him that you forget him. You forget this friend of yours. He's not meant to be in your life.
Just like he was not meant for him in the past life
Yes.
as well. Interesting. Very fascinating. Ma'am, in all these sessions that you've completed so far, all the clients that you got, do you feel that there was some story or some person who told you that their life was not on Earth but on some other planet? Have you had such cases as well?
Oh, yes, I did. Quite a few, in fact, but I'll tell you about one. I had this gentleman who came to me and he was suffering from anxiety. So, because he could not get over the death of his father, and who was killed by his own brother. And in the past life, this gentleman now was on a different planet. It was a crystal planet. He says, I'm walking barefoot on crystals which change color. And he's saying, they are my life force, these crystals. And he says, I don't have a human body. It's transparent. But he's got green eyes and he doesn't have any hair. And he wears a leather cloak. That's all he wears. And then he just flies from one place to another. And this whole planet is just made up of crystals. It's barren. And there are huge dragons flying overhead. Then he says, I created those dragons and I created this planet. And then he just, floats up to his abode, which is on top of a tower. And that tower is made up of black diamonds. And he says, I'm very powerful. I'm a creator. I created this whole planet. And I said, how did you create this? He says, just by my thought. And then he says, I can do whatever I wish. I have a control over all the lives. And I can see what's happening in other planets. Millions of light years away. I know what's happening, And I like to see people in pain. I like to kill them. And then he says he comes down to earth and he takes human form and then he causes trouble. And he's saying it comes naturally to me. That's like, he has no emotions. And he says, I created 5 others like me. I'm not the only one. There are 5 like me. They are my creators. Sometimes he says they are my creation. Sometimes he says they are my children or my servants, he calls them. And the first one he created was in charge of fire. That was his father in this life who was killed. And then he says fire is very obedient. He does what I say and he destroys everything on its path. And then he says he created somebody else who's in charge of water, and that is the uncle in this present life. He says, water doesn't listen to me sometimes. He just goes wherever he wants to. And then he created lightning. Like, he says, lightning is in charge of the weather, the rain and wind. He's very powerful. And then he created one Brahman. He's saying, that's my favorite creation, a Brahman. And he says, through his just one mantra, he can create the universe, he can create galaxies, he can create anything that he wants. And he's my favorite. And there's one more creation. He says he's the god of all the warriors. He's got a crocodile head and a human body, and he carries a trident. And so these are my creations, and I'm very happy here, and I'm very powerful. And then I asked him, who created you?
Yeah, exactly.
So he says, the creator created me. I said, how did he create you? He says, just by his thought. He says, but I wish I had created him instead of he creating me. So I asked him, what does the creator look like? He says, he looks like he's got a human form and his white complexion, beautiful white complexion and beautiful eyes, and he's got long hair. And he's just about 16 or 17 years old to look like, very young. And so he says, but he's like the air, like ether. He's everywhere. And he's the only place that I feel safe and rested. He says, otherwise I'm not at peace. And then I said, okay, how do you die? He says, a huge vortex of clouds and fire, they just engulf all of us. And he's saying that is the end of creation. One existence before the next one comes. So that was interesting. And then, of course, he got to meet his father's spirit and his uncle's spirit. And his uncle, he was very remorseful. He says, I was actually very jealous of my brother, and that's why I killed him. And then there was some forgiveness done. And then the father came in, and the father told him to be a good man and, to love, look after his family. So he was very happy after the session. But it was a strange session.
Yeah, because
yes,
it talked of a life that we are not
Yes.
really get to hear about.
Yes.
So on the basis of that, you can say that it's fair to say, that there is life on other planets as well.
Right.
That there are other universes.
Of course. We are not the only ones.
Yeah, we are not the only
Yes.
ones. It's not just the single Earth,
Right.
not just single Rangoli, not just single
Yes.
Tertia. There are multiple universes,
Right.
I feel. Wow, that's very fascinating. Okay, ma'am, on that note, putting an end to today's discussion, on the basis of your regressions, what do you think, what does PLR say about death and afterlife? What have you got to learn on the concept of death and afterlife through your PLR sessions?
Okay. See, Rangoli, when you go through a PLR session, you go through death. And that helps people to not be afraid of death. So that's one thing you learn after you go to a PLR session. Death is not something to be afraid of. It's a part of life. It is as certain as birth. The moment you are born, you can be sure that you're going to die one day. And the afterlife is a beautiful place. It's where you get to meet your loved ones. It's where you get to meet your masters and get all the answers that you've been looking for. And I normally take people through the death experience and into the afterlife so that they get all the answers that they require to just move on in life.
So I think death becomes a crucial part of a PLR session.
Right.
Okay. And what really happens in afterlife through the lens of the session that you've taken?
Okay. In the afterlife, the soul leaves the body, and they feel so much lighter. And there's a lot of light. People see different things. Some may see their loved ones come to receive them. Some may see angels. Some may see just cloud formations. And they see certain masters, their gurus. And they're healed there. All that healing takes place. We call upon the angels to do the healing for them while they're in that state. And also they have this ability to actually to look at their past life and see what are the lessons they have learned in that lifetime. And what was the purpose of that life? And what is the purpose of this present life?
Yeah.
So that's one thing that they learn.
So it's more like, if I conclude, that a past life regression can help you in so many ways. First, it can go to the roots of the problem or the suffering that you are feeling right now in your life. And at the same time, you can get a better understanding of your purpose in this life, what you were, who you were in the past lives. So definitely, ma'am, thank you so much for this myth-breaking podcast on past life regression. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Rangoli.
So do tell me, how did you enjoy today's podcast? What are your opinions on past lives? Do you believe in past lives, as I asked you in the introduction itself? And as this was an eye-opening podcast on past life regression, what changes did this session bring to you about past lives and about past life regression? Do let me know in the comment section. Have you ever done a PLR session before? And if yes, how was your experience? What did you get to learn about your soul journey? Who you were in the past life? Do let me know in the comment section. And do share this podcast as much as you can. I'll see you in the next one. This is Rangoli Sharma with you. Namaste.